That billionaire man is back again? Sung Gi-hun walks out of the airport terminal with a determined look, intent on confronting the mysterious front man, the person orchestrating the deadly games. Shortly after leaving, he becomes aware that he is being monitored. Not one to back down, Gi-hun quickly removes a tracking device that had been discreetly implanted behind his ear, cutting off their surveillance. Meanwhile, Hwang Jun-ho, presumed dead after falling from a cliff, is revealed to have survived the ordeal. Injured but alive, he begins to piece together his next move. Fast forward 2 years, Gi-hun has teamed up with Kim, a former loan shark he used to deal with, and Kim's lackeys. Together, they are on a mission to trace the recruiters who lure people into the twisted games. Their search takes them through the dark alleys of Seoul, where desperation and hope collide. After months of persistence, Kim and his associate, Choi Woo-sok, finally manage to track down one of the recruiters. They witness a disturbing routine. The recruiter approaches homeless individuals and presents them with a simple but deceptive choice: bread or a lottery ticket. Most, driven by the allure of fortune, choose the ticket. In a cruel display, the recruiter then destroys the rejected bread in front of their eyes, symbolizing the rejection of basic sustenance in favor of a fleeting chance at wealth. But the encounter takes a deadly turn when the recruiter captures Kim and Woo-sok. He coerces them into playing a dangerous game of rock paper scissors with a twist. It's combined with Russian roulette. The stakes are life and death, and by the end of the game, Kim loses his life, leaving Woo-sok to bear the weight of the tragedy. Jun-ho, still on his mission to uncover the truth, begins to investigate Gi-hun's recent activities. His persistence pays off when he discovers Gi-hun's operational base. It is here that Gi-hun has a fateful meeting with the recruiter. The recruiter, unrepentant and cold, reveals his dark past. He was once a soldier in the very games he now recruits for. In a desperate act of self-preservation, he had been forced to kill his own father, who was a fellow player. He justifies the game's cruel nature by branding their participants as societal outcasts, unworthy of redemption. In an attempt to assert dominance, the recruiter challenges Gi-hun to a game of Russian roulette. The air grows tense as they face off, but the game ends with an ironic twist. The recruiter himself is the one who falls victim to the lethal gamble. The encounter leaves Gi-hun grappling with the harsh realities of the games and the inhumanity they breed. He is left to confront not only the system that perpetuates such cruelty but also the moral dilemmas that arise from survival at any cost. Gi-hun, Jun-ho, and Woo-sok uncover a vital clue from the recruiter's jacket, which points to a Halloween party as their next lead. Determined to confront the frontman and uncover the truth behind the games, the trio begins to form a plan. Woo-sok takes the initiative to recruit a team of skilled mercenaries to assist them in their mission, while Gi-hun implants a tracking device within himself to ensure the team can monitor his movements during the operation. Together, they carefully devise a strategy to infiltrate the event and expose the people behind the sinister games. While preparing for the mission, Gi-hun balances his personal responsibilities with his quest for justice. He continues to care for Sang-woo's mother, showing her the compassion and support she desperately needs after the tragedy of her son's death. At the same time, he takes steps to help Chul reunite with his mother, who remains in the north. Working with a broker, Gi-hun arranges for their reunion, demonstrating his ongoing commitment to aiding those affected by the games. Despite the weight of his mission, he also reaches out to his estranged daughter, making a silent call in the hopes of reconnecting with her and repairing their fractured relationship. The team executes their plan and successfully infiltrates the extravagant Halloween party. Gi-hun, wearing a calm yet determined demeanor, allows himself to be escorted into a luxury limousine by one of the game's pink uniformed soldiers. His team follows the vehicle closely, ensuring they remain within range to provide support if necessary. Once inside, Gi-hun confronts the frontman via the limousine speaker system, demanding an end to the brutal games that have claimed countless lives. However, the situation takes a dire turn when the vehicles trailing Gi-hun are ambushed and destroyed, leaving him isolated. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Gi-hun makes the bold decision to request re-entry into the games as a player, hoping to find answers from within. Simultaneously, a new character enters the narrative, Kang No-oil, a defector from North Korea. Driven by a desperate desire to rescue her daughter, who is still trapped in the north, No-oil joins the game as a soldier. Her presence adds another layer of complexity to the unfolding events, as her personal mission intersects with the larger battle against the games. Gi-hun awakens in the game's dormitory alongside 455 other players, all dressed in identical uniforms. A manager steps forward to announce a pivotal new clause in the rules. After the conclusion of each game, the players will have the opportunity to vote. If the majority agrees to leave, the accumulated prize money will be distributed among them, and the games will end. However, the stakes remain high. Leaving would mean forfeiting a chance at the full fortune. Meanwhile, Jun-ho and his team, tasked with tracking the game's island location, face a setback. The tracker implanted in Gi-hun has been removed, leaving them unable to pinpoint the island's exact whereabouts. Within the dormitory, Gi-hun spots a familiar face among the players, player 390, his old friend Young-bae. Recognizing the danger ahead, Gi-hun advises Young-bae to stay close and cautious. The first game is announced as Red Light, Green Light, a seemingly simple childhood game with a deadly twist. Any player who fails to stop when the doll calls red light will face immediate elimination, by death. Despite the manager's warning, many players dismiss the severity of the threat. As the game begins, chaos erupts. Players scramble in panic as the realization of the consequences sets in. Amid the disorder, Gi-hun's urgent warnings and calm demeanor help some players survive the initial wave of eliminations, minimizing the casualties compared to the complete carnage that might have ensued. Player 230, a drug-addled rapper nicknamed Thanos, exhibits erratic behavior. Under the influence, he incites others to target fellow players, creating an atmosphere of paranoia and distrust. Gi-hun and player 120, a woman named Yeon-ju, notice a fellow player who has been shot but is still alive. They attempt to intervene and save the injured player, but their efforts are cut short when No Oil, a cold and calculating participant, ruthlessly shoots the player to ensure they are completely eliminated. After the game concludes, the surviving players return to the dormitory, where tensions remain high. Gi-hun seizes the opportunity to address the group. He reveals his identity as the sole winner of a previous iteration of the games and implores them to vote to end the games and claim their share of the prize money. The vote commences, with players who wish to continue marked as O and those who choose to leave marked as X. As the votes are tallied, the decision teeters on a knife's edge. Ultimately, the deciding vote is cast by the front man, who is posing as player 001. Despite the group's hesitation and fear, he opts to continue, sealing their fate for the next round of challenges. Player 001 pretends to ally with Gi-hun, weaving a partially truthful tale to justify his participation in the deadly games. The narrative portrays him as a victim of unfortunate circumstances, further earning Gi-hun's trust. Player 333, Myung-gi, becomes a target of player 230, Thanos, and player 124, Nam-gyu. The altercation escalates quickly, but player 001 steps in and effortlessly diffuses the tension, demonstrating a surprising level of authority and composure. Meanwhile, player 222, Kim Jun-hee, who is also Myung-gi's estranged, pregnant ex-girlfriend, reveals her identity to him, adding an emotional layer to the already fraught environment. Away from the dormitory, a sinister operation unfolds. A group of soldiers, led by the officer, secretly begins harvesting organs from eliminated players to sell on the black market. The officer instructs player 120, No Oil, to turn a blind eye to the illegal activities. However, No Oil defies the order, driven by her own moral compass. Her defiance escalates when she intervenes in the operation by killing living but incapacitated players who are being prepared for organ extraction, ensuring that no one suffers further. Meanwhile, Jun-ho continues his efforts to dismantle the games from the outside. He attempts to alert local police and gain their support but faces rejection, leaving him increasingly isolated in his mission. Inside the game, the second challenge is announced, catching Gi-hun and the other participants off guard. The players are required to form teams of 5 to compete in a 6-legged pentathlon, a sequence of 5 traditional children's games, dakji, baiseokshigi, gongi, jegi, and spinning top. The catch? They must complete all the games within a stringent 5-minute time limit, adding immense pressure to their already frazzled minds. As the players scramble to strategize, alliances and rivalries begin to take shape. Meanwhile, No Oil continues her silent rebellion, disrupting the organ trade and further undermining the soldiers' illicit activities. The tension mounts as players and soldiers alike struggle to navigate the increasingly chaotic environment. After Yeon-ju's team secures victory through collaboration and mutual trust, their success inspires other teams to adopt a similar approach, leading to more players achieving success in the challenge. Gi-hun forms an alliance with Young-bae, Jun-hee, player 001, and player 388, Kang Dae-ho. Their teamwork pays off, and they successfully complete the game. Afterward, the group exchanges names as a gesture of camaraderie, though player 001 deceptively introduces himself as Oh Young-il. No Oil's defiance continues to draw attention. She is ambushed by 2 soldiers deeply involved in the organ trade, who threaten her and demand that she cease her interference. Despite the warnings, No Oil remains resolute in her silent rebellion against the dark underbelly of the games. As the time for the next vote arrives, player 001 surprisingly encourages participants to vote against continuing the game, sparking hope among those weary of the ordeal. However, the majority of players, tempted by the potential for greater prize money, decide to push forward, believing the prize pool is not yet sufficient to justify their sacrifices. During a quiet moment, Gi-hun confides in Young-bae, expressing his mounting doubts about whether he can truly save everyone caught in the game's brutal grip. His inner conflict underscores the growing moral and emotional toll the games are taking on him. Meanwhile, outside the games, Junho and Woo-sok intensify their efforts. Armed with a now expanded team of mercenaries, they persistently search for the elusive island hosting the deadly competition. Their determination to uncover the truth and stop the games keeps them on a collision course with the ominous forces orchestrating the events. The third game, ominously named Mingle, introduces a fresh layer of psychological tension. Players are instructed to form groups based on a specific number announced by the organizers and enter designated rooms. The challenge forces alliances to shift, testing trust and loyalty as players navigate the precarious balance between survival and collaboration. During the game Mingle, chaos erupts as players scramble to fit their alliances into the designated rooms. The frantic push for survival leads to rising tensions, acts of betrayal, and even the deaths of once trusted allies. In a shocking turn of events, Young-bae witnesses player 001 ruthlessly kill another player to secure a room for himself, leaving Young-bae visibly shaken. After the game, Gi-hun confronts player 001 about their actions and the morality of persuading others to vote to end the games. Their heated argument escalates but stops short of physical violence, as both ultimately decide against pushing their conflicting agendas for the moment. During the subsequent vote, shifts in loyalty become apparent. Player 125, named Minsu, who has long been subservient to Thanos and Namgyu, initially votes O under pressure. However, several players, disillusioned by the violence and growing mistrust, vote X. The deciding vote once again falls to player 001, creating a tie. The organizers grant the players a day before the re-vote, leaving everyone in suspense. Tensions boil over in the interim. In the bathroom, Thanos and Namgyu corner Minsu, coercing him to change his vote to O for the upcoming re-vote. Their aggression draws the attention of Myung-gi and a group of players who had voted X. A confrontation ensues, and the situation spirals into a violent fight. In the scuffle, Thanos strangles Myung-gi, who, in a desperate act of self-defense, fatally stabs him with a fork. Meanwhile, outside the games, Junho's team closes in on what appears to be an entry point to the island. However, their discovery turns out to be a cleverly orchestrated decoy rigged with explosives. The trap is triggered, leading to the death of one of their mercenaries and leaving the team shaken but resolute in their mission to uncover the truth and stop the games. Captain Park of Junho's team is revealed as a double agent when evidence surfaces that he sabotaged their drone, severely compromising their mission. Inside the game's dormitory, the aftermath of the bathroom brawl ignites a grim realization among the players. Killing others not only increases the prize pool but also diminishes the opposing ex-voters, intensifying the divide. Gi-hun, understanding the manipulative tactics of the game's creators, urges a small group of ex-voters to refrain from violence, asserting that the real enemies are those orchestrating the games. Despite his plea, chaos ensues in the dormitory during a brutal massacre. Gi-hun's group avoids engaging in the bloodshed and stays hidden, though the rest of the X-group suffers heavy losses. When soldiers finally intervene, Gi-hun's group takes the opportunity to act. Using strategy, Gi-hun's group lures the soldiers into a trap, managing to kill all but one and seizing their firearms. With newfound determination, they initiate a rebellion, forcing the surviving soldier to guide them toward the control room. However, their progress is cut short when additional soldiers open fire. The group's resistance begins to crumble as they exhaust their ammunition. Dae-ho, tasked with retrieving more supplies, succumbs to a panic attack, leaving him paralyzed and unable to complete his mission. Amid the chaos, player 001 reveals his true colors, betraying the group by killing two members and staging his own death. As the rebellion collapses, surrendering players face execution, further emphasizing the brutal nature of the games. Gi-hun and Young-bae are captured and taken to a secure area, where Gi-hun encounters In-ho, now masked and leading as the front man. In a horrifying display of authority and cruelty, In-ho executes Young-bae in front of a devastated Gi-hun, solidifying his power and leaving Gi-hun consumed by despair and anger. Number 390. Eliminated. The remaining contestants, get ready to play the game. On the game field, a second countdown doll suddenly appeared, sending chills down everyone's spine. Squid Game 2 ends here.